On October 19 in Wilson Center, the Middle East Program, Asia Program, and the Global Women's Leadership Initiative hosted a meeting where American leads protecting women and girls in Afghanistan through education with Hassina. She is the founder and chief executive officer of Aid Afghanistan for Education. This time, we will talk about the life experience and the Aid Afghanistan program of Hassina. Dressed in formal black and white clothes, but wearing traditional Afghan jewelries, Hassina opened by discussing the background of the Aid Afghanistan for Education program and the personal experiences led to its founding. She was born in Afghanistan, but grew up and was educated in the United States. A trip to Afghan refugee camps in 1995 inspired her to move back to her home country. She determined to educate young women through a non-profit organization. For more than 2 decades, the real victims of Afghan conflicts have been the women and children. Families are without fathers and brothers. Mothers are left widowed and without income. Over and above the devastation of war and violence, Afghan youth have fallen behind as a result of a regressive, fundamentalist system that prevented modern education for children and denied the opportunities for women to work and fend their families. Upsound. At the end of the day, home is always home, and when I was in my home, my life is much more meaningful than what I was doing here in the United States. It's more rewarding. When I go to the schools, one of the students who's 20 years old in 4th grade gets up and says, "If it wasn't for this program, I could have never read my name." Concerning the Aid Afghanistan program, it was founded in 1996 by Hassina. At first, it was prevented from openly assisting in the education and development of children by the Taliban regime, so it opened 5 underground schools for girls. Hassina argued that more needed to be done to expand access to education beyond the big cities and into remote villages. One problem is the government-run schools do not even allow people aged 10 or older enroll without prior education. So Hassina said 8 groups have to look at local needs and introduced that AAEs created an accelerated education program for older students. Upsound. Fortunately, for 2007, we signed an agreement with Ministry of Education that we will be able to give graduates of 12 grades, and they will be able to provide them with their high school diploma. So this is a huge achievement because no NGO does this. So since then, we have given 830 for graduates, and schools are doing very well, and students are very happy. Besides the women's education, Hassina held that greater education for boys could help combat the influence of Taliban and reduce gender prejudice in Afghan society. She felt that parents are very eager to send all of their children to school, and in many cases, husbands encourage their wives to seek further education. She also pointed out that most educational NGOs are not based on needs. They're based on what we think is best for Afghans. Hassina voted for building a deeper people-to-people connection. Upsound. What has not really happened in last years is this people-to-people connection, because we have left everything to the governments to do. I don't think all governments do whatever they can and whatever they know. But I think that we have to be much more active and getting to know Afghan people and getting to know what their life is all about, what do they want, and how they want it. At the end, Hassina said she felt optimistic about the future, though it was a difficult process.